A reliable mode of public transportation seems to be a perennial problem for many Filipinos. Thus, app-based ride-hailing services became popular alternatives. What are the implications of these new modes of transport to the traditional ones? How is the government regulating them? Good evening, I'm Ruth Cabal. This is On the Record. Our guests for this episode grab Philippines country head Brian Koo, Angkas Chief Transport Advocate George Royeca, and the founder of Lawyers for Commuter Safety and Protection, Attorney Ariel Inton. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Ruth.
Okay, can I just start with yung ating mga TNVS? How big is the market now and how many passengers are we talking about, Brian?
So Christmas is always a busy time for us. We're seeing around 700 to 800,000 bookings come in a day, but we're only able to serve close to half of that. We have around 35,000 drivers who are active on a daily basis, serving those passengers. Pero kulang pa rin talaga to meet the demand.
When you calculate yung sinasabi mong booking, so that, like me, I take Grab in the morning and in the afternoon. So counted na yun as two bookings. So not necessarily 75,000 na tao or not necessarily like that.
Correct. But if you're a user and you try to book once and you're not able to get one and you try to book one again immediately, that's counted as one. But if you use it after a considerable period of time within the same day, you're counted as two.
So ibig sabihin, medyo marami pa rin talagang nagpa-patronize na.
Yes.
Which areas are we talking about here in the Philippines?
We're talking mainly about Metro Manila. We do have operations in Cebu, Bacolod, and Pampanga, but the lack of supply is really prevalent in Metro Manila.
And Angkas naman?
Well, I think the demand right now is maabot yata na more than 200. It really depends, no, based on our estimates, but it's really hard to tell because there's really a lot of habal-habal going around the streets.
When you say habal-habal, ito yung mga hindi
the informal ones, yes. So it's still an alternative mode of transportation. Of course, everyone still picks the MRT first, the bus, and then medyo matagal bago dumating sa angkas part.
Pero ilan yung drivers nyo ngayon?
We have about 27,000 in the platform right now.
So ganun din, basically hindi rin nami-meet yung demand.
Hirap po. Yeah, especially now, the Burr months, it's really very, very traffic.
Ang gusto kong malaman kay Attorney Inton is how is this, they mentioned yung market nila, how is this changing yung experience for a Filipino commuter?
Malaking pagbabago, no? A lot si app-based transportation is more convenient. No? Hindi ka na maghihintay sa kalye, hindi ka na magpapara or pipila. So if you book your ride, it comes to you, sakay ka. And then isa pang advantage, alam mo na yung pamasahe. Kung magkano babayaran mo at hindi kayo magkakagulatan. So malaki talaga pagbabago. And as they said, if you add the passengers taking Grab and Angkas and probably the competition, it's close. It's more than 1 million a day.
Yeah, oo.
It's more than the passengers taking the MRT.
Yeah, and it's something na dapat sa ganung karami, it's something na dapat tinutugunan din ng ating public transport.
By the government.
Yeah, by the government.
Regulation.
Yeah. Pero when we're talking about parang one-on-one na transport service, like I'm thinking of taxis Parang ang nabasa ko is observation ng ibang tao kung na-improve daw sana yung taxi services. I mean, how do you relate yung mga ganito with taxis, existing taxis now?
Well, ang taxi ngayon, they also shift to many of them shift also to app-based. Pero hindi lahat. No? Kasi ang pasahero ng taxi, mas marami pa rin nag-hail.
Yung mga nasa malls, yes.
And then yung sabi nga nila na because of what commuters experience sa taxi, kaya nagsiship sa TNVS. No? Yes, I think that's true. Coming from a former LTFRB board member, talagang maraming sumbong nun sa taxi. No? But, pagdating sa TNVS, meron din mga nagiging sumbong doon. Di ba? So that's where regulation has to come in. Talaga para the experience sa taxi would not be the experience sa TNVS.
Pero in terms of,
But Ruth, of course, hindi natin linalahat yung mga taxi drivers. There are a lot na mahusay naman. In fact, when we go to places like Baguio, talagang you have there the honest drivers.
Oy, nagsusukli ng kahit na 50 centimos.
Susuklian ka. Diba? Baka nga pagkasanda, keep the 51, suklian na lang kita.
Pero yung mindset ng mga Pilipino, do you still like for Grab, for example, do you consider it parang luxury ba? Or is it,
Well, in the beginning, it might be that perception, pero ngayon hindi na, no? Especially when during the time that we are about to regulate TNVS, TNC, there was a debate of whether or not magka-cash basis. Kasi dati, di ba,
Credit card, yeah.
So, sabi nila, hindi naman lahat ng tao may credit card. So, you see there that tingnan na rin ng regulators yung masa na, okay, if you don't have the card, then you cannot use the TNVS. So, might as well open it up to cash-based transaction.
Sa inyo, like Grab and Angkas, anong market nyo? I mean, in terms of class, social class?
I think our markets are actually very different. You may see some overlap, but we cater predominantly to the AB and maybe upper C market because our average fares naman are more than a MRT or a P2P or a bus or even an angkas for the same distance. So we cater to a slightly higher end of the market who see Grab as a replacement for a car, not as a replacement for another form of public transport. So people who previously would intend to buy, a vehicle, isipin nila hindi na kailangan kasi may sakit ng ulo pa,
parking pa. Ako yun ang iniisip ko lagi. And then I can do other stuff instead of driving my car. Pag nakasakay ako sa Grab.
That's right.
Diba? But for Angkas?
Well, for us talaga, it's really lower end, no? Low-income family households. Talaga yung mga pupunta sa MRT, pupunta sa bus, and haba ng pila. And, yung mga different modes of transportation to get to their destination. So, minsan nakatatlong sakay, 4 na sakay bago makapunta dun sa last, patutunguhan nila. So, that's really where our market is, no?
Tsaka yung sinasabi nila na, ano ba yun? Mobile, yung short micro mobility or something, usually ba ilang kilometers, like especially for Angkas, for motorcycles?
The idea really is small, agile, transportation. Trips, very, very small distances, maybe 5 to 8 kilometers. Anything beyond that, it's really uncomfortable already. And, you have the added, inherent vulnerability of a two-wheel vehicle, right? And you're exposed to the elements as well. So talagang the idea is really short distances.
Kaya marami ring nagpe-patronize ng mga motor din talaga, motorcycle taxis because of the short...
Yes, well, feeder service kasi siya eh. So, galing sa bahay mo, papunta sa mass transit, papunta sa MRT, papunta sa bus station. Yun talaga yung ideal use of Angkas. But, right now, especially in the December, season, talagang yung traffic, you really have to negotiate your way through that end-to-end nagiging paggamit ng Angkas.
So, Attorney, you mentioned kanina yung mga ibang issues na related to the TNVS. Pero bago mo sagutin yan, I want to ask you yung issues from your group. We'll be back for a quick break. This is On the Record. Keep it here on CNN Philippines. You're on the record on CNN Philippines. Joining us now on the phone, LTFRB Technical Division Chief Joel Bolano. Good evening, Director.
Hello, good evening po. Good evening sa lahat ng nanonood sa inyo.
Yes, tatanong lang namin sa inyo, sir, as far as LTFRB is concerned, anong coverage ng regulation nyo when it comes to TNVS? Fares, of course, is number one, no? The regulation of fares.
PNVS itself? PNVS.
Yes.
PNVS is yung mga unit ng PNVS, sila po yung may mga franchise. Ang regulation that is just like other public transport. Ang difference lang nito, si PNVS kasi is covered by an apps. Ang kanilang pagkuha ng passenger is through an apps using the PNCs.
Yes. Pero in terms of yung regulation about new players coming in, kasi ngayon, of course, Grab virtually has a monopoly of yung cars, no, when it comes to cars, no. paano po? How you approve yung mga PAs and certificates of public convenience? Yeah.
Yung sa new players kasi if you're referring to the TNCs, because TNVS are those units. Ito po yung may mga sasakyan natin. But as far as yung mga new players, siguro nang sinasabi natin, bakit ito po yung tinatawag yung sa transport network company, yung mga provider ng apps or ng technology. We have a number of providers. Hindi lang po Grab. Mayroon po tayong mga na-accredit din, like Auto, Hive, Hirna, MyCab. So we have, at least as of today, we have 9 TNVS, both on TNCs, both on TNVS and taxis.
Okay. Okay, we have 9 na pala, no? Ngayon ko lang din nalaman yan. But we have Attorney Edton here from Lawyers for Commuters and Safety and Protection. Ano bang concerns ng group niyo when it comes to this?
Good evening, Joel.
Good evening po, Attorney.
Well, Joel, of course, it's good that we have competition. But my question is, parang hindi nararamdaman yung competition. No? What is LTFRB doing on that point? That's one. The second is, okay, if there is competition, kasi ganito, no? Di ba may limit tayo sa number of units ng TNVS, di ba?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Are we also going to limit the number of competitors, not only dito sa TNVS, but erstwhile, you know na there is a, what we call the pilot test of motorcycle taxis. Ano bang direksyon ng LTFRB pagdating doon?
Well, on the matter po doon sa competition, sabi ko nga po, we have already at least 9 TNCs. Although out of 9 TNCs, siguro mga 5 po doon, nakafocus lang po sa TNVS. As far as LTFRB is concerned, si TNVS, kung saan kami po ay ang nagbibigay ng franchise to them, after we issue them the franchise, they have now the option or the liberty to choose whoever TNCs ang gusto nilang i-attach sa kanilang sasakyan. And hindi lang naman natin pinapay isa, but they can have at least more than one TNC.
What you're saying, Director, is kunwari ako, may kotse ako, pwede akong mag-service for angkas, pwede akong mag-service for auto, yung ganun, di ba? So, wala akong exclusivity. Oo.
Tama po. Yung tinatawag natin na dual uppers, mga ganun. Yun po yung, dati po kasi, they have first the accreditation from TNCs, but after that, ang ginawa ho natin, in-issue po muna natin yung authority o yung franchise sa mga TNVS, then we let the TNVS operator to choose their own TNCs.
Okay.
Kumbaga, they can choose any TNCs from the accredited providers.
Joel, we know that, no? We know that there's no exclusivity pagdating sa TNC. Kumbaga, you can be a dual or triple citizen pagdating dyan. But my question is, how come na hindi nararamdaman yung ibang TNC?
Kasi Director, like ako, nag-download din ako ng mga ibang app pero parang pag naghahanap ako, walang lumalabas na kotse.
Ano problema? Wala ba silang sasakyan or what? Are they in effect operating? So that's my question. No? Second is, pagdating naman sa motorcycle taxi, since it is in a pilot stage, no, what will happen after the pilot stage or even during, no, in terms of competition? Saan ang direksyon ng LTFRB pagdating doon?
Well, doon po sa competition, sabi ko nga po, they have the liberty to choose. But yes, we acknowledge na medyo marami pa rin po yung isang TNCs, considering na sila po yung initial o nauna doon sa market. But siguro doon sa ibang TNCs, we also conduct a regular dialogue with them. Maybe siguro we can, again, check on that. Kasi yung nangyayari po ngayon, si operator, siya mismo namimili doon sa kanilang gustong TNCs. So, hindi naman namin sila ma-force not to have to go because sasaklawan po namin yung kanilang liberty doon sa pag-choose because outside na po doon sa franchise po natin na ini-issue.
Okay.
So, ang nangyayari po ngayon, kung sino po yung, siyempre, ang iniisip po ng mga TNVS operator is yung kikitain po nila doon sa kanilang TNVS operation.
Okay. Okay.
If I may add to that, no. So
Brian Co of Grab is here. Yes.
We've been on, sir. Good evening, po, Sir Joel.
Good evening po.
We've been part of these discussions with the LTFRB working groups along with the other TNCs. The LTFRB set fair rules, man. So it's a level playing field for all TNCs. Now, I can say why I think Grab is doing well. Well, for one, we've been in the market for 7 years. We have a global support team that helps support the technology in the app. And because of our experience in the market, we sort of know what consumers want, what drivers
So mahirap
want.
na habulin ng ibang smaller ones.
We've spent more than $100 million investing in the Philippines, and that went direct to the drivers, the consumers, the tech platform. So competitors that come in are free to spend the same, right? But there is benefits to being
the first,
having the first mover advantage to this market.
Okay, Director, follow up ko lang yung sinasabi ni Attorney Inton. In terms naman of si Angkas, kasi mag-e-end yung kanilang dry run by end of December. So, what are we looking at? Anong direction nga daw po?
Well, with regards po doon sa Angkas, may 6 months po tayong pilot run sa kanila. Then the PWG had a meeting last November 20 because there are some providers that are interested then to enter into the market. Meron po kaming receive from the DOTR another 6 providers na nag-submit ng kanilang proposal. So, we already undergoing evaluation on the 6 para po makapasok din po sila doon sa pilot testing. With the end of the pilot testing of the Angkas, after the evaluation of the 6 months and the evaluation of the new players, we will submit the recommendation of the TWG to the DOTR next week before the end of December 26, hoping that we will continue with the pilot testing to include the new players.
Pero ano pong direction? We're looking at allowing them legally kasi 'di ba 'yun yung pinag-uusapan dito eh, 'di ba? Using yung batas.
The instruction of this pilot came from the resolution of the Congress. So what we're going to do is just to recommend for legislation to the Congress.
O nga po, to recommend that they be recognized, legally operate as
based on the evaluation after the pilot testing. But we have to look at on the other providers, at least to make sure that the viability and on the safety and the operation of this motorcycle taxi.
Joel,
Yes, Tony.
yeah, you mentioned na nagkaroon ng TWG meeting.
Opo.
Yung grupo namin is a member of that meeting, but mukhang nakalimutan nyo kami imbitayan.
Pero nandun ba kayo, George? Siyempre, nandun kayo.
We presented po dun sa last CWG yung resulta po sa Angkas.
Okay.
Yeah, but as far as the lawyers and commuters safety and protection, I understand that we are a member of the TWG unless there is already a new composition which we were not.
So ngayon alam na ni Director, para next time, imbitado ka na. Pero pag-usapan natin yung isa pang importanteng issue, yung fares, di ba? So pagbalik natin, pag-usapan natin yung fares and we still have LTFRB on the line. We'll be back after a quick break. Keep it here. You're watching On The Record. You're watching On The Record on CNN Philippines. We still have on the line Director Joel Bolano of LTFRB. Sir, tanong ko lang kayo in terms of yung regulating naman yung fares. Because I was just telling them, ako sabi ko, nag-grab ako usually. And napapansin ko lang, medyo mataas lately yung, yung fare, no? Hanggang kailan ba? Hanggang gaano kataas ba pwedeng mag-increase? Because of the surge.
Well, Ms. Ruth, yung fare natin under doon sa bagong MC natin, meron lang tayong times 2 na surging based doon sa minute sa travel per minute niya na 2 pesos at doon po sa kanyang distance per kilometer. Aside kasi doon sa may tinatawag tayong best fare na 40 pesos doon sa mga sedan natin, yung mas mababang klase ng unit, plus yung 15 pesos per kilometer and 2 pesos per minute, yun po yung base fare dapat ng ating PNBS. Mag-surge lang siya ng times 2, not including yung 40 pesos na best fare. Parang kung sa taxi, parang yung plug down.
Hindi, kasi ako, kunwari, I have 200 pesos on a regular day and minsan umaabot siya ng halos 400. We have 395 or 390. So, pwede yon, ganun kataas, halos doble. Ganun po ba yon?
Well, depende nga po yun sa distance, sa computation doon sa system ni TNCs, based doon sa MC namin. It should not be more than doon sa kanyang times to na pag-search, saka sa distance kilometer na tatakbin, saka sa per minute. So, dapat doon lang siya maglalaro sa figures na yun na isinaad namin doon sa...
So that's allowed nga, times 2, hanggang times 2, no?
Yes po,
Brian.
More or less, yes. More or less, it's times 2, but there are other factors. The distance obviously doesn't change, right? 'Cause if you're going from point A to point B every day, that doesn't change. But the travel time could change depending on the traffic conditions on that day. So, and once it surges, it could result in more than a times 2 difference. Let's say if your time component...
So pwede siyang more than times 2.
Hindi siya pwede more than times 2 against the base.
The base fare,
But if you're
but the other
comparing it
factors,
on a like yesterday, the traffic conditions are different. Today and yesterday, it takes twice the number of minutes to get to that same
Yeah.
location from the same...
Because of the traffic.
Because
So,
of the
iba-
traffic.
mag-iiba siya.
Mag-iiba talaga
Si
siya.
Angkas has that same thing with surge.
Meron po, pero mas mababa po yung surge namin. Kasi naman yung driver kasi, the motorcycles are more agile, right? So, more or less, we have a little bit more resistance on the traffic.
Wala na tayong time. Siguro, last words from you guys. Ang concerns naman ng commuters on your end and then for Angkas and Grab.
Sa amin, safety and protection. Kaya nga, yun ang namin sa commuters. And I'm a bit disturbed when Director Joel mentioned na nagkaroon ng TWG meeting without us dito sa
Pero alam na niya ngayon.
motorcycle
Alam na niya
taxi.
ngayon. Okay.
So, we hope that foremost ang dapat na natin dito sa mga motorcycle taxi, safety.
Okay, George.
For us naman, especially now in the traffic season, there's really going to be a lot of demand for motorcycles, not just for Angkas, but also the other types of motorcycles, the informal ones out there. So we really hope that the passengers and the drivers have safety as their most critical, most paramount importance. Diba? So, let's be safe out there on the road and make sure that we're all okay.
So for us, first of all, thank you for everyone who supports Grab. But let's always remember that it's a two-sided platform where there are passengers. There are also more than 30,000 drivers and rider partners who depend on Grab as a means of income and livelihood. So let's respect both sides of the platform.
Okay, thank you very much to our guests tonight. That's On the Record. And thank you for watching. I'm Ruth Cabal.